Baby, so go. Gagaramis. Baby, so go. Gagaramis. Baby, so go. Gagaramis. Baby, so go. Baby, so
The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
Speedway, Indiana, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. When you think of the most famous track in the world, what more do you think of? The famous 2.5 mile rectangle, 4 corners, banked at 9 degrees, hoisting the big trophy and drinking the milk. That's what we all think of when we think of Indianapolis, and that's what we have on our hands tonight. However, we're not, of course, going to be going around the flat rectangle. We are going to be navigating around the newly updated and configured interior roval section. Welcome everybody to PTR TV for tonight's coverage of the Red Sox Racing League at the Indianapolis Road Course for round number 5 of their fall season campaign. Giving you the calls here tonight is myself, Corey Silva, doing the one-man show in the booth and in the truck, putting the pictures together on the screen for tonight's event. Per usual, we do have the qualifying session in its completion stages right now, with the LMPs currently on the track. Todd, Mayer, and Pietri currently on screen right now, third on the lineup. Only 7 LMPs here this evening. They have been slowly kind of fading out as the season progresses. Looks like the GT3s currently have 22 of them registered, with, take a wild guess, Ryan Robertson on the pole in that series, and missing a couple series regulars pertaining to our LMP grid too. I don't see Mitch Heller here this evening, and I'm trying to see who else is currently not here. Ross Booth, I don't see him either. So Alex Keatslar currently on the top of the pylon in that class and has had a lot of good runs, has yet to get the victory this season, but we'll see if he can pull that off. Ryan Robertson, of course, 3 for 4. The only race he didn't win was Fuji, which was won by Robert Barros, but the only reason he didn't win Fuji is because he wasn't there. So he's trying to complete the season sweep, and he's in very good position to do so. But of course, the Indianapolis road course here, relatively new to many of us on the iRacing service. It's not much different than it used to be. Essentially the turn 6 area, I believe we may have it right here. You can see this is a chicane when it used to be kind of a little carousel section. And then we head down the backstretch into turn number 7 and 8, where there is, it's kind of, they've just made a lot of switchback sections to it. And then, of course, towards the end of the circuit here, rather than taking the NASCAR turn 1 in reverse, we have ourselves this interior chicane section leading back on to the Indianapolis Oval. Of course, turn 1, from a stock car perspective, we've seen quite the carnage there with the 90-degree turn to the right. Of course, that is just a staple of this track. Those big turtle curbs there, 4 or 5 lanes of traffic funneling down to 1. I don't expect us to have NASCAR shenanigans here. That's not what the Red Sox Racing League does, but it'll definitely be interesting nonetheless, as the official qualifying timer does come to a close, and now the cooldown will activate, so anybody who's on a live lap will have the ability to finish that lap. Les Turner in 0.2 of a second off of Alex Kietzlar's best lap, so doesn't look like Turner will continue. Of course, our current schedule that we are on right here, only one more race after tonight. We head to Imola for the last race of the season, and we do have a sneak peek at the new schedule that we will be covering for the Fall Season 6 2022 campaign. We'll kind of give you that tidbit later in tonight's broadcast. Let's see what else we have. Robert Kansian on track right now. I mean, if there's anybody else on track that we haven't seen recently, but pertaining to the point standings, let me just try to see if I can pull those up on the back end and I can verbalize them. Les Turner is up by 10 points over Dennis Griffin in LMP, and then Robert Barros up by 12 over Mark Kedrowski. That is not accounting for the drop week, so we will most likely get that information as we head down into next week's broadcast. So we'll kind of give you that little tidbit of information, but that cooldown timer is coming down to 0, so these guys will head down trackside for the starting lineup, and we'll get ready and give it to you. So let's head down and give you the PTR TV starting lineup here today from the Red Sox Racing League at Indy. On tonight's poll, the lap time of 1 minute 16.45. Alex Kietzlar will lead down our LMPs with Les Turner to his outside. I just scrolled too fast. That's what happens there. Todd Marapietri in third, Dennis Griffin in fourth, Robert Kansian in fifth, with Bill Pawlucky in sixth. Mark Wilson will be our final LMP. Then starting our GT3s, Ryan Robertson, our points leader, our dominator. He is going to be on the front row for this one with Robert Barros and Peter Mahler, who had a good run last week for Atlanta. Mark Kedrowski in fourth, Reed Rundle in fifth, Terry Dahl in sixth, with Shane Hunter in seventh, Jason Breifogel. I am clicking way too fast there. Jason Breifogel, and I cannot remember who was on to his outside. That was Dwayne McCarthy. And then we have Kevin Kyle and James Prostel Jr. and Jerry Miller. Matt Owens in 13th, and then rounding out our field, Scott Husted and Brian Irby. Looks like we will be doing the full grid around, the full pace lap around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Gives us some time to cover a couple more statistics here. Our weather here this evening, 77 in the air, 80 on the track, negligible wind and humidity. And of course, our race details have not changed to 35-minute races with our incident limits and our limited fuel load. And we usually have our fuel load around lap 20. We've seen some guys really stretching that to its at maximum limits lately. So we'll see if that is indeed the case this evening. And our race, as far as I know, our races are still brought to you by Anodyne, and I do have the blurb here this week. Anodyne is your trusted source for differentiated products for industrial, aerospace, defense, rail, and transportation end markets for over 50 years. Anodyne offers a wide range of hydraulic dampers, elastomeric bumpers, and vibration isolation products to meet all your simulation needs. Contact Anodyne at anodyne.com. If you haven't heard it, I am on about week number 3 of being under the weather, so I actually have a much better voice here than I had this morning, where we're getting really nervous on whether we can cover this one tonight. So again, just kind of bear with me as I trudge through tonight's coverage. And of course, our GT3s will be staggered roughly 10 to 15 seconds behind, but coming through the turns 7 through 10 complex here is our LMPs getting ready here, headed back onto the oval. This is one of the tougher sections of the track. You're really wanting to put the power down, but very easy to go a little wide into that grass, which naturally you want to avoid at all costs. And then coming here into the right-hander, entering the new chicane. In my experience, I feel like there needs to be one more brake marker there. You're kind of braking at a very difficult point, so this braking zone actually is quite difficult. Then you have to do a quick switch back here to the left. Our pit entry will be there, as you can see the big wall dictating that. And the pace car will pull into the right there, into pit lane, and we will wait for Keatslar to get this race underway. Heading back on to our Indianapolis oval. Barney has the flag in hand, and we are going to wait for it here, exiting corner number 14. I think we are going to go on the actual green flag, and going to be waiting for the get-go here for the Red Sox Racing League race number 5 at Indy. We are underway here, heading off down that front straightaway into the famous turn 1 here. Les Turner to the right side, rather the left side of Keatslar. He's going to see if he can battle him down here. He's not going to be able to. He's going to get himself single file into the lead. And it looks like our GT3s, they're going to be going at the start-finish line. This may be a little bit more chaotic, where we do have about 20 of them there at the start-finish line. So that is their cue to get onto the loud pedal here. Fighting off into turn number 1 for these GT3s. Hard on the binders here, gonna hop it over the curbs. Ryan Robertson does manage to get around, or rather clear and continue holding the lead over Barrows. And headed down that back straightaway here, turn 7. There's a lot of runoff room, and there's really nothing stopping you from using all of that runoff that you see to the right side of your screen here, setting yourself up for the left-hander into turn 7. A lot of space here to utilize. While it's seemingly a one-line track, you can kind of force yourself into 2 wide here if you need to make it happen. May have a battle shaping up for 3rd and 4th. Look like Dennis Griffin may have been taking a stab at Robert Cansey in there, entering turn number 1. But he will fall back on. This is what I was talking about here. There's that curb there, and again, race control does not penalize you. You can go as far to the left as you need to, exiting 6 there, heading down the backstretch into 7. So keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, in GT3, you can see here, entering 1, there's so much of a slipstream opportunity down the front straightaway there. With that high speed, so Barrows did manage to cut into the gap just a little bit. If he can stay within that 3/4 of a second, then he may be able to use that slipstream to maybe make a battle out of this and give Ryan Robertson his first battle since race number 1. We did have Aldo Secklin race in races 1 and 2 of the season, and he did show to be a very good competitor for Ryan Robertson, but he has chosen to do other things rather than race. So I can see from the Discord here that he's actually playing a different simulator right now, so has chosen to do other things, unfortunately, and that has kind of given this season a little bit of an easy turn for Ryan Robertson here. But Robert Barrows trying to do what he can to, shake things up and provide that challenge in GT3. Keatslar has already, turned the Jets on, up by almost 2 seconds over Marin Pietri. in LMPs right now. So this race already spreading out quite a bit here. Peter Mahler in a side-by-side. That's with Mark Kadrowski. That's trying to get third in GT3 entering turn 1. Going side-by-side through the flat infield here. Some people relate this layout to something similar to a Silverstone or a kind of a European track. Naturally, a lot of European tracks don't have any natural elevation change, so some find them difficult to learn because there's no real natural flow here, because of course you are just digging out a track inside of a standard oval and or rectangle configuration. But Mahler will fall back to that 4th spot. Barrow's still hanging on here within 3/4 of a second of Robertson, doing the best he can to hang on and see if he can get a good run out of here, get that curb, get on the throttle at a good point. This corner here is a lot more difficult than you'd think it'd be. Trying to get the power down on that flat corner. He's 9/10 of a second back, heading on to the long straightaway here. About 5/8 of a mile is this front straightaway. He's able to gain about 2/10 in the draft, and he's going to really push the binders here into turn number 1 to try to gain something. But it just seems that Ryan Robertson just has a little bit extra in the tank here. But a good conga line of cars here in GT3 building up behind Mahler. Reed Rundle right there, Terry Dahl, Shane Hunter. Not too far back, Jason Breifogel. And then Kevin Kyle, not too far back as well. So a good little conga line here for about 4th to roughly 9th in that class. Five laps into tonight's efforts. Expecting about 27 laps or so on the evening. Rundle really closed into the back of Mahler there, entering 11. Now we're through 12, 13, and 14 to end this lap out. We'll see if Rundle is going to be able to take advantage of anything here heading down the front straightaway. Well, he will stay in line rather than make any dives, but Mahler he's still not really dropping back from Kadrowski. Both of them are about 1.5 seconds behind Robert Barros, who has dropped back about 1.5 seconds from Robertson. And in GT3, Keatslar up by 3 seconds, but that battle between Mark Wilson and Dennis Griffin still seems to be up and lively here for that 4th and 5th spot. Bill Pawlucky in 6th, then Les Turner. He did start in 2nd, but has dropped back to last in class. Not sure if he had a spin or something that we did not catch live. See through this infield section that Wilson is trying to, I think he's trying the wrong way. He's trying to go faster to get by, which sometimes on a track like this, as I think we have some GT3 interaction here, which may shake things up. These Roval infield track layouts, a lot of times you find yourself in a position where going slow sometimes is the best way to get by. Because you're so flat, you really can't get the power down naturally. So just kind of being patient on the throttle sometimes is faster, as both of them trying to get by some of these slower GT3 machines. So that is 991 of Matt Owens. They're trying to get around right here. Again, this is the closest live battle on track right now. Well, it was anyways. Now we have Shane Hunter closing in on Terry Dahl. About half a second there. And these guys just right on the tail of those battles we were just following. Ryan Robertson still up by about 1 3/4 seconds. He will have a couple, I think he will have one LMP further to get by, or rather to let by. But we'll quickly switch over our lap times, our ticker, to display lap times. See, last time by, Keatslar almost only 2/10 faster than I think the lap traffic definitely added into it here, as Keatslar going through some heavy duty lap traffic here, going around the outside of Mahler. Kind of getting through the entirety of the field here for GT3. This is a very bad place to catch one right here through these single file kind of switchback chicanes. See, caught, I think that was Kudrowski. Next will be Robert Barros, and then our overall, well, our GT3 leader at the top of the screen there, that Ryan Robertson. But all the meanwhile, through all of that, Keatslar actually managed to pull away by a little bit. Todd Marampietri has gone to second. So everybody does continue on through here. Marampietri having one of his best runs of the season. Dennis Griffin, Mark Wilson, Bill Pawlucky, and then Les Turner here, our LMP lineup. Well, we just had a battle shaping up here. Looks like Shane Hunter trying to make something happen on Terry Dahl. That is for 6th and 7th. But they will have Dennis Griffin kind of splicing the middle on them here. And then just ahead of that, as they're getting by some slower GT3s, Griffin and Wilson, really has been the best battle that we've seen all race. They are still nose to tail here, heading through, I believe it's 10 and 11. And we're going to head back briefly into the chute. See, flashing the headlights there, letting those GT3s know, get out of the way if possible. He's going to squeeze by Mahler there. See if Wilson's going to make a move here on the front straightaway. He should have the position. Didn't get off of 13 as well as he would like to into 14. But he's still going to be within half a second. Meanwhile, a little bit further up, live battle between Robert Kansian and Todd Marampietri. Kansian's going to move into P2 here with that pass down the front straightaway. Getting around GT3 leader Ryan Robertson right here. And there goes Marampietri to using the GT3, who got, I think Ryan Robertson there slowed up Kansian there, exiting 7, and that gave Marampietri the run down the back straightaway. So he will retake that lead. All of this happening 8.5 seconds behind our overall leader. Goes Reed Rundle, closing in on Peter Mahler. See, that's the conga line has cinched up even closer there. As it's Les Turner. He's going to intervene and weave his way through here. You can see inside, outside. Getting around Reed Rundle there. Rundle locks up on the binders there, getting into the chicane here. That's going to give Terry Dahl an opportunity to make a move. I thought he was going to do a crossover, but he's going to stay right on the right on the bumper there of Shane Hunter. Maybe use a draft, and that's Breyfogle. Nearly hit the fence there, heading back onto the front straightaway. See if Dahl tries to go hard on the binders. Oh, almost some contact there between Breyfogle and Dahl. That wouldn't have been the first time that's happened. Of course, nothing that is malicious, but I believe it was Monza. We had an issue with braking between the two of them, so almost kind of the inverse there, but Breyfogle was able to get on the binders enough to evade any kind of major incident. But not to discredit what is going on up front. Alex Kitzlar, or Kitzlar, I just like to add accents to it apparently, but Alex Kitzlar up front by 9 seconds. And I don't have the full season analytics here, but just going race by race, he's had a great season. His average finish is second, and he has led many races. He started on the pole or very on the front row in basically all of them, but he just hasn't found a way to bring it home, and it just seems like he really got loose over the curb there. Don't pull off a Mitch Heller and spin yourself out, not to roast him there, but as long as he doesn't make a mistake, this one is in the bag. Seen this season with Mitch Heller that he's just kind of some self-induced mistakes when the race is kind of wrapped up and you haven't won. Some self-induced mistakes sometimes will be what takes you out of these races where the field can't challenge you. So if the field can't challenge you, the only person that can challenge you is yourself. So got to keep that in mind. And really, same can be said for Ryan Robertson, who doesn't have the mammoth 9-second lead. But he does have a nearly 3-second lead over Robert Barrows here. And like I said, outside of really Monza, there really hasn't been a race this season that Robertson has had a genuine challenge throughout the whole event. Again, since Aldo Secklin has retired from the series, it seems, he has just outclassed the field. But while we do have a moment, this may be a good opportunity to kind of tease our upcoming schedule. Terry wanted me to show it. So this is going to be our upcoming schedule for the next season of the Red Sox Racing League, starting in 2 weeks' time at Mossport, then headed to Hockenheim, heading to the streets of Chicago, the fictitious now turned reality streets of Chicago, Watkins Glen Boot, Brands Hatch, and the Daytona Road Course. Unfortunately, we won't be covering the first race here on the channel due to pre-allotted vacation time, but we will be with you for the other 5 races of the season. And thought we had a battle brewing up between Griffin and Wilson, and just checked in GT3. Rundle and Mahler, closest battle going on track right now. Of course, pit stops. Actually, this might even be a battle. It's for shotgun on the field between Scott Husted and Kevin Kyle, but while it may not be a battle up front, it's still a battle on the track, so get these guys their air time as well. Try to get everybody their TV time if we can. Scott Husted's shotgun on the field, currently running there. Kevin Kyle has lost a couple spots, but looks like Husted's going to try to make a move into one, or at least show his presence, and will remain stationary for the time being. And we're about 20 minutes into tonight's race, so traditionally pit stops do happen, give or take, around this time during the effort. So we'll be interested to see if that happens, and that very well just may be the opportunity for any mistakes to arise that, you know, could slightly alter the finishing position of this race. We've seen guys have different length pit stops, and, you know, penalties always exist, so we'll see if anything happens. But again, if you are Keatslar or you are Robertson, you know, take it cautious. Don't push the cone at full speed. There's no need to. You have the gap to play with. Just take it easy. Get that pit stop done. Take a little extra fuel just to be safe. Don't take chances, because when you have the race wrapped up, just the main goal is just not to screw it up. So getting through lap traffic here once more. Through GT3 traffic is Alex. Weaving high, weaving low. Should clear everybody on the front straightaway here. So up front, we're just going to do a little race recap, rather field recap. Keatslar up front in LMP with Todd Pietri currently in second, Robert Cansian in third, Dennis Griffin in fourth, Mark Wilson in fifth, Bill Pawlucky in sixth, and then Les Turner in seventh. And then out for GT3, Ryan Robertson up by 3.5 seconds over Robert Barros. Mark Kudrowski in third, Peter Mahler in fourth, Reed Rundle in fifth, Shane Hunter in sixth, Jason Breifogel, our TCR champion last season, in seventh, Terry Dahl running in eighth. I know the ticker here shows the overall, but I'm letting you know verbally what the class position is. Dwayne McCarthy in ninth, Matt Owens in 10th, and then Jerry Miller, Scott Husted, Kevin Kyle, and James Prostel Jr. Running a shotgun on the field, but he has already made his pit stop. And if you made your bets on who was going to be on TV time the most, if your guess was Griffin and Wilson, then you would be the winner of that bet, because they are definitely the best battle in tonight's race there. I saw that Wilson was flashing the headlights on Griffin there, maybe trying to distract him or playing mind games. We'll come through the 4, 5, 6, 7 complex here onto the back straightaway. We'll have to navigate around, I believe that's Kevin Kyle entering 7 here. Again, flashing the headlights once more is Wilson. A little bit further up from this, we do have the battle for second has re-centered itself here, rubber banded itself back together. Baron Pietri did pull away from Cansian for quite a bit, but whether mistake or GT3 traffic, Cansian is right there within a half second of Baron Pietri again. So he's within slipstream range. And he will have to get around Dwayne McCarthy here. But McCarthy is going to be caught at a very awkward time on the track through 4, 5, and 6. And who's that around? I think that was Cansian around and into the kitty litter. Let's go use replay for the first time this evening. That was Baron Pietri going to the left side of the track to get around McCarthy, and Cansian just kind of a self-induced mistake. Just got a little bit too far to the left and got it into the grass. Can't really blame anyone but himself there for that. As we do have pit stops shaking up here. Oops, schedule. We already saw you. Les Turner on pit road along with Bill Pawlucky. Shot our bottom end of LMP here, closing on 10 minutes to go in tonight's festivities. Mark Kidrowski in. He was about running third in GT3. Bry Fogel. We'll see if Rundle and Mahler come in here. They're coming towards the latter end of the circuit. Nope, they will. Oh, actually, I lied there. On the front end of the circuit, it all kind of looks the same here. As the lights start... Well, the light is going away here at Indianapolis. Of course, there is no lights here, but we will finish with enough daylight here to suffice. Mark Wilson in the pits. Still waiting on Keatslar, who's getting around the 58 of Robert Barros here. He is closing. He's coming in on the end of the lap, so it'll be, we'll see if he goes straight. Nope, the pits would be to the far right, so he is going to keep it out for one more lap. Currently for LMP, top 4 have yet to pit. For GT3, we still have the vast majority of the field. Only 4 drivers in GT3 have pit, so these guys really are taking it to the last drop. And the longer you go, the shorter you have to stay in the pits for. Keep that car lighter as well, so definitely some advantages to pitting later. It's Mahler and Rundle trying to battle for that third spot in GT3. Mahler, he had it earlier, and then Rundle kind of got by. And it looks like Mahler is not done fighting for it. He's closing in back to within about 3/4 tenths of a second here, heading down into 7. Getting caught by one of the LMPs there off in the distance. Trying to make out who that is. That is Todd Marin-Pietri there, getting by. He's in second in class. Still waiting for his pit stop. And so it's only the top 3, Keatslar, Marin-Pietri, and Kansian, but they're... And top 2 are in. Kansian with that spin. And overshoots turn 12 there. So it goes from bad to worse for him. And he's going to keep it on track one more time. Interesting call there for GT3. Just about everybody is on the pits right now. See Barros, Kidrowski, 004 of Mahler's in. There's Shane Hunter, Terry Dahl is in, still waiting for Ryan Robertson. It's only Robertson, Husted, and Kevin Kyle in GT3 that we are waiting to make their pit stop. We'll expect Ryan Robertson to come by this time because, you know, he's closing in on 7 minutes to go here, so the fuel load must be very, very dry there. Currently has a artificial 45-second lead, but of course that's not what it will be in actuality, but he is going to come to the attention of his crew. Robert Kansian, he should be pitting this time by, we'd have to imagine. You can see he's very wide there, so that would indicate a pit stop, and there he is into the pit access lane. So lead will shuffle back to Alex Keatslar. Oh, that was a weird light shift there, with a 13-second gap over Marin-Pietri. So did everything right on the pit stop, no penalty, no speeding, you know, enough fuel, and managed to pull the gap just that little bit. So did everything that he needed to do and then some. Ryan Robertson exiting his pit right now. He's up by 10 seconds over Scott Husted. And Robert Barros closing in here. So the gap is going to be closer, but not close enough here. See, exiting the pits here. Barros now entering 1. Robertson is now clearing back onto the racetrack with a 5-second lead. So I don't actually remember exactly what it was, but I want to say it was around 5 to 7 seconds. So I do believe Barrows gained a little bit of time on him, but nothing substantial there. So that will stay the same, and Robertson just needs to run a couple smooth laps and he'll run this out. As I think that's Breyfogle trying to get by Prostel here, entering 1. He will do so successfully. Breyfogle runs a little bit wide there, but does keep it smooth and on circuit. Prostel on the bright yellow number 16 car this evening. And Breyfogle, very dominant in the TCRs last season, winning races, winning the championship. Just when it comes to GT3, just hasn't really shown that same magic. Really hasn't been a contender for any of these wins, but for that matter, nobody has. But I'm sure he won't be. Maybe he'll be looking forward to another season to get more experience in trying to contend next season. Again, season starting at Mossport in 2 weeks, but Imola still on our hands next week to wrap this season up. Mark Wilson closing in on Les Turner here. The Wilson and Griffin battle has essentially ended because they are now separated by about 3.5 seconds, but Les Turner, through I believe some kind of pit call, has managed to get up into 3rd. Not sure exactly how he did it, but he did it nonetheless. Now he's up to 3rd, but he does have Mark Wilson hot on his tail, and I think Wilson has a little bit more pace here as they do close in on Robert Barrows, the GT3, excuse me. Gonna get by him through 11 here. 11 and 12. Not really too much live going on right now in terms of battles. Probably one of the most spread out races we've seen this season. But Robertson doing exactly what he needs to do lap time wise. He was 0.8 of a second faster than Robert Barrows last time by. So I mean, what more can you ask out of that? Then I can haven't talked about him in a little bit. But Kitzlar up by 16 seconds over Marin Pietri, so that is absolutely dominating performance. But again, missing some of our big dominators, our big guns in LMP. We're missing, Mitch Heller. We're missing Ross Booth. So what would have happened if we had everybody here? The world will never know, but either way still counts as a victory if indeed Kitzlar can manage to get around. And Kitzlar in the points is showing up 9th in the points. I don't know his entire situation, but again, there's always one drop week in the league, and Terry always has that calculated with some different scenarios heading into the last race. So it'll be interesting to see where everybody does stand once that drop week kicks in, and hopefully we'll have those kind of hypotheticals to share during next week's broadcast. But not pretty much everybody on track is separated by almost more than a second at this point, so really just kind of chugging out these last 2 minutes. Minute 16 laps here, so you can see the timer under 2 minutes. But we'll hit the stripe with about a minute 40 probably, minute 35, something on those lines. About a minute 40, I was right. So we'll end up being 2 to go this time by. This will hit the stripe one more time with about 15 seconds left, and that will certainly throw the white. So for Kietzler, just 2 more laps around with that 16-second lead. See Dennis Griffin. I don't know if he just had a spin or something, but just lost some time. Robert Kansian falls back. Les Turner cements that lead over Wilson. Now he's up by 2.5 seconds, so a good comeback from Les Turner. Again, starting second in class and having issues and then getting himself back into a solid position, so that'll help him with his efforts to maybe win a championship this season in the Red Sox Racing League. But here comes Kietzler through the final sequence of corners here, and we'll get ready to take the white flag here at the Indianapolis road course. Let's see if, there goes Barney the flagman. He has it waving, so this is the last time around. 2.6 more miles to complete race number 5 here for the Red Sox Racing League for Alex Kietzler. And Ryan Robertson, he is chugging along as well, but he will have a ways longer to complete, but he is in the same sequence, currently 5 seconds up over Robert Barros here, but heading down the back straightaway for the final time. Outside of a pole, outside of a pit stop, has led every single lap from the pole and has realistically had, you know, a ton of speed in the bank over all of his competitors this season. So Jason Breyfogle just in front. I'll get by him with relative ease here, and, you know, has all these good runs this season. And even last, he's always been a top runner, someone you always expect to have some speed out of, but just hasn't found a way to put the races together and celebrate the big prize. But tonight, he is going to find the way to do that, because Alex Kietzler is going to come off of turn number 14, and he's going to win for the LMP class here at Indy for the Red Sox Racing League. Congratulations to Alex. Ryan Robertson here, looks like he's in turn number 7, so he will have a little bit of ways to go here to get his 4th out of 5 wins in GT3. The only race he didn't win was the race that he was not present at, so he's going to try to go for essentially the clean sweep here. As long as he can come through 3 or 4 more corners, he's going to try to do the clean sweep at Imola next week. But by 5 seconds over Robert Barros, Ryan Robertson is going to come off of 14 himself, and he is going to win this for the GT3 class. Robertson wins at Indy. And congratulations go to our top 2 here this evening, our winners here at Indianapolis. Again, showing some great pace here, some good clean racing, as we always see in this series, and some guys still finishing their laps here. So we'll, before we go to cut away to our post-race show, let's give all these guys an opportunity to finish their races out. And it looks like that has been done, so let's head down and wrap up the final results here tonight from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Alex Kietzler with a 16-second win over Todd Marin, Pietri, Les Turner in 3rd, Mark Wilson in 4th, Robert Kansian rounds out the top 5 with Dennis Griffin and Bill Pollocky rounding out our LMPs. And then we have Ryan Robertson winning again in GT3 with Robert Barros in 2nd, Mark Kudrowski in 3rd, Reed Rundle in 4th, Shane Hunter in 5th. Then we have Terry Dahl In 6th, Grayson Breyfogle, James Prostel 7th and 8th, Dwayne McCarthy, Matt Owens rounding out the top 10, and then Huston, Mueller, and Mahler, the top 13. Kyle and I don't think Irby did not start tonight's race. Let's try to get these guys on screen here so we can showcase their vehicles for the post-race show. Let's see if I have a better camera than that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's kind of luck of the draw here. We'll see if we got a better one. There we go. As good of a shot as we're going to get here. Alex, Corey up in the booth. You got me, bud?
I sure do.
All right, man. So you went basically flag to flag here, led every lap except one in the pit cycle. You did just about everything right. Didn't really seem like anybody had anything to touch you here this evening. Talk about your night here at Indy.
Yeah, it was good. We just, I knew I had the pace to finish. I finally got a fuel calculator to do it correctly and was able to just kind of exit away. I do feel bad for Les because I think we're on cold tires and he overshot the 3rd or 4th corner. But other than that, it was a lot of fun.
And you've had a lot of great runs this season, and you've had a lot of good qualifying runs. But it either seems like someone just manages to get by you at the end, or the strategy doesn't work out. What's it feel like to put it all together and finally get that win this season?
Yeah, finally get a win. I think I finished 2nd several times, and just unable to finally get it to be correct. So we got everything correct, fuel and pit strategy correct, and just drove away. But it is fun to finally get a win here.
And rounding out our fall season, we head to Imola, so a much more technical, narrow track next week. What's your confidence like heading in there, trying to go back-to-back?
It's pretty good. Imola is definitely very technical, and this sprint setup is really good for every variety of track, so it should be fun. I enjoy it. The lap traffic will definitely play more of a role than it did here.
All right. Sounds good, my friend. Any thanks, shout-outs you want to give for your win here tonight?
Yeah, just thanks my family and all that fun stuff, and family and friends.
All right, sounds good, man. Congrats again, and maybe we'll talk to you next week.
Hope so.
And then we have our GT3 winner. May as well carve out the seat here, Ryan, because we're getting pretty comfortable with it. Your 4th win out of 5 races, and the only reason you didn't win the other races because you weren't there. So, again, it looked like Robert could kind of hang with you there, but about 5 laps into it, you started pulling the legs on him, and I guess another kind of a cruise here. Talk about the night at Indy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Robert definitely had pace and kept me honest that whole time. I can always believe that relative. I mean, our fastest laps were only 1,000th of a second difference, so it was more worrisome. I mean, he stayed with me for, like you said, like 5 laps, and once I broke the draft, it was just kind of try to keep that out and then keep it consistent, because this is the first time racing at this configuration, and it is a very technical track. There's only like 1 or 2 normal corners. Everything else has some weird double standard to it.
Yeah, you're lucky you didn't really have any serious competition, because when you're racing someone here in a close battle, it is very easy to overcook your braking marker, and you really didn't have that happen too much. But yeah, we'll see it's kind of hard to say it's a season sweep, but it's essentially going to be a season sweep if you can win an Imola next week. What's your confidence level heading there next week?
It's actually pretty high. I love driving at Imola and tend to have a good amount of luck. I mean, now saying that, I'm probably going to mess up, but no, I mean, I love Imola, and I'm hopefully going to be able to take the win again, but we'll see. It all every race is different, and traffic plays out in different ways all the time.
Yep, and then right after that, we'll be heading into the next season, so I know these guys will be ready on their tail to kind of shake your dominant streak, but we'll see if that can happen, man. But who do you want to give a shout out to for your victory here this evening?
Shout out to my team, Satellite Racing. Shout out to Terry and Les for running the league. I've been doing it for a long time and keep it going. And shout out to you for casting.
All right, sounds good, man. And we'll see if we can wrap it up and go do the clean sweep next week.
Sounds good. See ya.
All right, so that is a broadcast here for the Red Sox Racing League. Congrats again go to Alex Keatslar and Ryan Robertson for the victories in their respective classes. And if you haven't liked and subscribed, please make sure you do that for us on our road to 1,000 subscribers. Every last bit counts, every last sub counts, and on our way to do so. And we do have our TNR Big Block Modified Series on Tuesday, and we'll be right back with you on next coming Thursday for the season finale of the Red Sox Racing League, so make sure you stay tuned for it. But that's Corey signing out of the booth here. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.